The short list for potential Supreme Court nominees is growing as the White House prepares to name a replacement for Justice John Paul Stevens. And right now, administration officials say there are 8 names, and NBC News has learned that the White House plans to have key senators over next week to begin talks. And Republican Congressman Mike Pence of Indiana is here with me. He's also the chairman of the House Republican Conference. It's such a great pleasure to have you inside our studio.
Thank you, Tamron.
We talk to you a lot from Washington, D.C., so it's great to have you here. I want you to listen to something Senator Pat Leahy just said a short time ago about how he feels Republicans are already handling the possibility of a name out there. Let's listen.
Senate Republicans are avoiding answering A or nay on these nominations. They prefer saying just maybe. And that's what a filibuster is on these. You're not voting yes or no, as we're hired to do, as we're paid to do, as Americans expect us to do. They get to vote maybe.
Congressman, let me get your response, because you do have Republicans on record who've said in the past that filibuster is wrong and now choose to use it or say that they will with the Supreme Court nominee.
Right. Well, I think what you hear Republicans in the Senate saying right now, Tamron, is any evaluation of any one of the prospective nominees is premature. I mean, the American people are entitled to a full and thorough vetting of whoever the nominee might be, because you've got issues that bear upon our fundamental freedoms that are before the court, that the president in his recent address to Congress called out the Supreme Court on the Citizens United case. You have more than a dozen attorney generals that are going to take the whole issue of an individual mandate to buy insurance to the Supreme Court. The court really is making decisions more and more and more that directly affect the freedom, the economic freedom, and the personal freedom of the American people. So any first impression judgment I think is premature, and it ought to be maybe right now.
And I think most American people are the polling numbers to support it, but I'm sure most American people certainly want scrutiny from both sides on whomever is selected.
Right.
But when you have leaders in the party, like, for example, Sarah Palin saying we're not the party of no, we're the party of hell no, as she put it, there are folks out there who believe that just from the start, before a name is really even out there, that Republican leadership they're ready to say no, to make everything a Waterloo moment, to quote a Republican senator.
Well, I'm someone who believes that no is way underrated in Washington, D.C., where I come from, so sometimes no is exactly the right answer. But, I really do think that when you factor in, and the court probably since the early 70s has been getting deeper and deeper and deeper into the economic and personal liberty of the American people, born and unborn. And as that role expands, we ought to have more scrutiny. And I don't think Republicans ought to take the possibility of a filibuster off the table if the president nominates someone from the extreme left of the ideological and judicial spectrum.
I want to switch topics to the midterm elections. Many say that whomever is selected for the Supreme Court, that will not be the issue people vote about. It's going to be jobs and where they stand with the economy. You have the poll that was taken at the Southern Leadership Conference in New Orleans. Mitt Romney came out #1 in this. What does that tell us about what Republicans across this country think about the party and the direction it's going?
Well, I had the privilege of being down there in New Orleans, Tamron, and what I heard from folks, what I said to folks, what Haley Barbour said to folks when he spoke was that, distraction is the enemy of our success, that the issue right now is the 2010 elections. And more than anything else, and hats off to Mitt Romney for his success that day, but more than anything else, the Republicans I spoke to down in New Orleans were saying, we need to focus right now on these midterm elections.
So there's nothing we can glean from that straw poll that might tell us?
I want to give Mitt Romney his due, and he carried the straw poll, and he's to be congratulated for it. But I'm saying the Republicans I was talking to down there were focused entirely on winning back the American Congress for the American people. And I think that's where the focus of the party is going to be, is how do we get this economy moving again? How do we get spending under control? As I said, how do we turn back this massive expansion of government into our everyday lives?
What role do you think the Tea Party will play in this, in the midterm election?
Well, whether you want to call it the Tea Party or grassroots Americans,
they want to call it the Tea Party.
Libertarians, look, I got to tell you, what I've seen over the last year and a half, Tamron, is an authentic American movement. Republicans, many Democrats, independents that are just saying enough is enough. We've got to put our fiscal house in order. And I think the role they play is really dependent on whether Republicans really do offer the kind of candidacies and the kind of platform that shows that we're willing to go back to our roots of fiscal discipline, limited government, and reform. If Republicans hold that banner high, I think the Tea Party folks will know where to go on Election Day.
All right. Well, it's always a pleasure to speak with you, and it's great to have you in studio, Congressman.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Absolutely.